Planet Dolan. From a crazed home invader to a gun at a kid's party, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the most dangerous situations we've ever been in. I'm Gurgak, and today, I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Ryss Alsief. One day while Pringle was at home watching a movie, some random guy walked in through the sliding back door. The man looked at Pringle and asked if his parents were home. He then started ranting like a madman, saying,
"Chill's okay. Chill's not suffering.
Chill's okay!"
The confused man stepped back outside for a second, so Pringle leapt into action. He locked the door and pulled the curtain shut. The crazed man slammed his fist on the door, telling Pringle to unlock it. Pringle ran upstairs and hid while his mom room called the police. The cops arrived and the man tried to flee. He became very aggressive and the cops were forced to taser him. Pringle later testified against the man in court. It turned out he'd been stalking Pringle's family for some time and had even come to the house once before. Pringle has kept that sliding door locked ever since. Number 9 was submitted by GalaxyGirl12345678890. When Ladybot was 11, she used to get horse riding lessons. On this particular day, a storm was brewing. Ladybot wanted to call it a day, but her horse riding instructor said riding during a thunderstorm was good practice. Ladybot's horse was preparing to go over a jump. Ladybot knew they were going way too fast, but she couldn't stop it. As they approached the jump, lightning lit up the sky, scaring the shit out of the horse and causing it to make a sudden left turn. Ladybot came flying off of the horse and flipped in the air. She landed right beside the jump, breaking her wrist. If she landed just a few inches closer, she would have cracked her skull open and died. Ladybot was taken straight to the hospital and learned how dangerous it is to mix horse riding lessons and thunderstorms. Number 8 was submitted by DrNessProphet. When Hellbent was 16, he went over to a friend's place to hang out. The friend had his younger cousin over her, who Hellbent had never met before. The cousin was sleeping in the corner with a hoodie draped over him. Hellbent could tell he was on something, probably ice or pills. He was fidgeting, so Hellbent knew he was coming down bad. This cousin had robbed a gas station the night before and was basically hiding out. When the cousin woke up, he looked at Hellbent and became agitated. Hellbent and his friend tried to calm him down, but he was extremely paranoid. He pointed at Hellbent and shouted,
"I don't fucking trust him!"
Then he reached behind him and pulled out a revolver. Hellbent watched the guy's finger slowly squeeze around the trigger. The gun clicked and the cylinder began to rotate. Hellbent braced, but the gun didn't fire. Hellbent quickly punched the guy in the stomach and wrenched the gun from his hand. When the police showed up, Hellbent asked an officer what were the chances of a loaded gun not firing. The officer said it was probably a dud primer, the chances of which are 1 in 100,000. Number 7 was submitted by KimmyJoestar. When Dolan was little, he lived right on a swamp. His parents told him not to play near it because it was dangerous, but a little danger never stopped Dolan. One day, while playing with hermit crabs, Dolan got stuck in some pluff mud. He kept trying to climb out, but this just made things worse. He ended up sinking right down to his neck. Dolan panicked and screamed for help. A neighbor and his dog heard him and came over to investigate. The neighbor got Dolan's dad and called the fire department. When Dolan's parents arrived, his mom was crying, but his pops just laughed and said,
"We told you to stay out of the swamp."
Fortunately, the fire department was able to pull Dolan out of his muddy grave. That was the last time Dolan played in the swamp. Okay, just kidding. Only now he tests the floor with a big stick before putting his foot down. Number 6 was submitted by Fancy Rose. When Dolan's brother was 7, his parents took the whole family and some neighbors out on a float trip. Dolan's brother had a bad feeling about the trip. He heard it on the radio that bobcats had been sighted in the area. His dad laughed at this and said it made it more of an adventure. The whole trip was supposed to take 8 hours, but 8 hours later they were still building their floats. It was getting dark and Dolan's brother, mother, and father became separated from the rest of the group. Night fell and they noticed hundreds of eyes watching them from the nearby forest. It looked like they were going to be a bobcat's dinner, when suddenly a man from the fire department emerged from the bushes and rescued them. Dolan's brother was glad to be alive. Meanwhile, Dolan spent the whole trip back complaining about a leech on his toe.
Hey, how'd you like a stupid leech draining all your blood?
Number 5 was submitted by Cruell DeVil. When Emoji was 7 years old, he went to a superhero-themed kids' party. The birthday boy's mom had arranged for a very special guest to show up. While Emoji and his friends were eating ice cream, Superman suddenly walked through the door. They rushed over to meet their hero, but one kid at the party just stood at the back without so much as a smile. He soon pulled out a pistol and pointed it at Superman. The adults screamed and pulled their kids away. The kid with the gun said if the guy in the costume really was Superman, the bullet would bounce right off him. It took 15 minutes, but the man dressed as Superman eventually talked the kid into handing over the gun. Police arrived and talked to everyone about gun safety. It could have gone really bad, but in the end, Emoji found it a surprisingly fun party. His favorite part was the cake. Number 4 was submitted by clockworkable. When Melissa was younger, she loved going jet skiing with her dad. What she didn't like was waiting for her turn at the shoreline and watching her younger siblings. One day while waiting, Melissa paddled out too far into the water and lost track of her siblings. She tried to find her way back but fell down a sudden drop in the lake. Melissa bobbed in treaded water for what felt like hours, but she was too far for her family to see her. Melissa was gasping for air and thought she was going to die. After a long while, a neighbor spotted her and pulled her from the water. She now prefers the land or the sky, anywhere but the water. Number 3 was submitted by kitkatkittenangel. One day, Shima's school was locked down. No one knew what was going on, but a voice came over to the intercom telling students to follow the emergency procedure. The teacher locked the door, turned off the lights, and told everyone to get under their desks. Shima huddled between two friends who were freaking out. Eventually, Shima's teacher looked online to find out what was happening. It turned out a local woman had broken up with her crazy boyfriend. He snapped and killed her. Then he vowed to kill her 2 kids, who happened to go to the same school as Shima. Thankfully, the guy was arrested before he could hurt anyone else. But for Shima, it was a terrifying situation to be in. Number 2 was submitted by JohnnyCage54321. When Honeybits was 6, she went to the fair with her parents. Honeybits was so excited that she wandered off and got lost in the crowd. Her wristband allowed her to play any game and go on any ride, so she decided to roam around and have some fun. When she got tired, she decided to sit down in an area where no one was around. A man dressed in as a fair employee told Honeybits he knew a cool secret game they could play. Honeybits thought this sounded great, so she followed him to a makeshift shack that wasn't decorated like the others. The man then shows her what appeared to be a toy gun. He pointed it at her and said, "See this? Wanna see what he does?" Without thinking, Honeybits said, "Sure." But when she saw him loading the gun with real bullets, she got scared and ran. The creepy man yelled for her to wait, but Honeybits ran into the crowd. She finally found a security guard who brought her back to her family. That night, Honeybits stayed up and watched TV with her parents. An emergency news broadcast came on saying that a local child was missing. The child was last seen at that fair. Number 1 is a personal story by, me, okay? So when I was a little kid, my mother would always tell me not to swim in the local river. You know, I was a pretty rebellious kid back then, so one day I planned it all out, man. I had swim trunks tucked in my backpack. This was going to be a great day. So after school, I ran out to the river and saw that nobody was around. Which was weird. It was going to rain, but my little kid mind did not understand that a storm was coming. I switched into my swim trunks and just dove straight into the water. For the first few minutes, everything was fine, but a strong current came in and dragged me into a deeper part of the river. I was so young, I did not understand that the best course of action was to just relax and hopefully float up. So instead, I just freaked out and flung around until I passed out. The next thing I remembered is waking up around 5 miles away from where I was swimming. It was way late, like probably around midnight. Once I somehow got back home, there were 2 police cars waiting outside of my house. Honestly, I just wanted to run away. But I went inside, and after my mom yelled at me and the cops left, I was grounded for 3 months. Between me and you guys, I can't really go into deep waters still, thanks to that. It freaked me out that badly. Huge thanks for the folks over on the Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you though. What's the most awkward thing you've ever done? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown.
One day, Emoji caught the morning train into town. His carriage was quiet and everything was normal until a teenage busker boarded. The busker started playing some loud electro dubstep music and asked for donations. No one in the carriage seemed interested except for